Howdy. How's it going, guys? My name is Claire, and today we're gonna play Majora's Mask. How does that sound? Alright, I already got my file name set up, and if we're ready on time, I say we just get started. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go. I almost started the timer there, because I'm so used to starting the timer myself. Anyways, my name is Claire, like I said, and this is a very special run of Majora's Mask that we have for you today. This is 100% no source requirement, and we'll explain what that means in a second. First, I want to introduce my co-commentator, Rylie, if you want to say hello and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course. Hi, I'm Rylie. I mostly do glitch research for this game, although I've done a few runs in the past too. I've contributed somewhat to the current route, although Claire made most of it.
All right, cool. So, first thing we need to talk about is what are the requirements for 100% in this game. So, this game actually has a really nice explanation for what the requirements for 100% are. Basically, it's everything that stays with you when you play the Song of Time. So, what does that mean? That means, like, obviously, all the items, item upgrades, all the masks, all the songs, all the great fairy rewards. You have to hit all the statues, like the owl statues, and set a score point for all of those. You have to get all the Tingle maps, so we're gonna get to talk to Tingle a bunch. I know everybody loves Tingle. And also, you have to fill out the entire Bomber's Notebook. But this is a little bit different from a traditional 100% run. Traditionally, 100% has a rule called source requirement. So what is source requirement? It's basically just saying that everything you have to get in the game, like every item, you have to get it from source eventually. That does not mean that you cannot glitch items into your inventory early, but it means you always have to get all the items from their source at some point. This is 100% no source requirement, though. So, basically, that means that that rule is out the window, and all we got to do is get all the things that I mentioned earlier. So, how we do that is maybe it's going to be pretty interesting if you've never seen it before. I don't know if you noticed, but the estimate for this run is about 1 hour and 50 minutes, which is a bit shorter than you might think a 100% run should take. That's just all part of it. One thing that I will mention is that we are playing on the Nintendo 64 Japanese 1.0 version of the game, so the first version of the game that was ever released. And there's a reason for that. There's a glitch that we have to do that only works on Nintendo 64. And Japanese, it also only works on Japanese, which is why I don't know if anybody really noticed the wacky file names I had, but that's going to play a role into it.
Hey, Claire, that's not true. I made it work for English, too. It does not work on Paladin.
Does this one work?
No, this one doesn't. This one doesn't work.
Okay, yeah, exactly. This one only has a setup for Japanese. But we'll get to that in a second. Rylie has a whole explanation about this glitch because she basically found out how to do it in the way that we do it now. But right now, what I'm just doing is going through the first part of the game. I don't know if you've played Majora's Mask, but Majora's Mask has a really long intro. Basically, we were just on the horse, and then Skull Kid took our ocarina and ran off. Now we're just chasing after him. That's basically all we're doing. You may have noticed that I was running backwards right then. Backwalking is the fastest normal form of movement in the game. Technically, side hops, if they are frame perfect, are faster, but that's not really humanly feasible to do. So I just backwalk in any distance that's longer than a few rolls. You're gonna see a lot of backwalking until I get the Goron mask, because the Goron mask can go very fast. But yeah, I think that's basically all I gotta explain right now. If you want to go ahead and read a donation, we're gonna have plenty of time for donations.
We got a train going here. I'm going to try and rattle off as many of these as I possibly can in such a short span. $5 from Jimmy Noodles that says, we can get a glitch exhibition for Untitled Goose Game? I'll buy a ticket to that $5 donation train. Honk! $5 from My Name is Rue. Here's $5 from a glitched out goose. Quack! $5 from Matty J. Glitch honk! $5 from Mega Bro. Finally had some extra money for my first ever donation to GDQ. Always a pleasure to watch these games get destroyed, and all the more for a good cause. $5 from Anonymous. It's been a rough year for many of us, but seeing GDQ chug along strong gives me hope for the future. I wish every donator, streamer, host, and runner the best in all their endeavors. $5 from Wormy. I've watched too long not to donate. Love the content, love the cause. Keep it up, smiley face. $5 from Miss Valentine. Loving the commentary, and good luck to the amazing runners tonight. Much love to everyone in this awesome community. And I have a $500 donation from Anonymous that simply says, honk! Whew, take a breath.
Nice. Yeah, that was a lot. So I am about to actually take control again. For Deku, once again, backwalking is the fastest way to move normally. But Deku has another move called, well, I don't know what it's called, but it's basically he just spins in a circle. And that is faster than just walking forwards. And you can actually like turn with it, which is really nice. So you're going to see me doing that quite a bit. Coming up is going to be our first like glitch of the run. And Rylie, if you want to go ahead and explain what the Happy Mask Salesman skip is, that would be great.
Oh, that's what you were talking about. I thought you were talking about title text skip. Yeah, so Happy Mask Salesman. He talks to you for like a minute. It's pretty boring and slow, but it turns out that in this game, every cutscene takes 2 consecutive frames to load. So what we can do is if we can interrupt the cutscene 1 frame at a time, then we don't ever have to watch it. And it turns out that pausing the game actually allows us to do that. So what Claire's going to do is essentially backwalk towards the door and try to pause buffer 10 consecutive frames. And if she can do that, and she's lined up correctly, which is not a given on the N64 version of this game. This trick is much harder on N64 because you can't walk in a straight line. But if she can succeed, then she will skip talking to the Happy Mask Salesman, and that'll save like 30 seconds. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. However, the pause buffering on Nintendo 64 is very difficult to only go 1 frame at a time, so I'm going to do my best. We'll see if I get it. I can't hear the game audio right now, and that usually is like a good cue for that, so we'll see if I get it or not.
Oh, that was so close.
I got a lot farther than I thought I was going to get, to be fair.
She got farther than I thought she was going to get too.
That trick is really hard on Nintendo 64, and it's also really hard to do if you can't hear like the pause sounds. So, I mean, I got pretty close. I think you get the general idea of what you have to do, and I guess that's all that really matters. So now we just get to talk to our boy, the Happy Mask Salesman. So if you want to read another donation, that'd be great.
I certainly can. Folks, just to let you know that we are less than $4,000 away from the Untitled Goose Game Glitch Exhibition. We're almost there. We can make that happen. In the meantime, some donations here. $25 from Merlin's Whiskers that says, howdy, Claire. It's so rad to see you on the big GDQ stage. Good luck on your run. I know you'll totally kill it. Smiley face.
Hello, Merlin. Smile.
Techno Chicken sends in $250, says, had to donate during my favorite game of all time. This game is a roller coaster of emotions that gets me every time I play it. Good luck to all the runners.
So real quick, what I did right there is I reset the console. This game will autosave a couple times throughout the run. That just happens to be one of them, and that cutscene is really long, and the reset time for N64 is very short, so I just reset the console there real quick, and it skips a little cutscene where Tattle just talks to us more. Literally, if there is any way to save time in first cycle, we want to do it. By the way, speaking of first cycle, that's what we're in right now. First cycle is a term that we've given to basically like the first 3 days that you go through the run. If you don't know, in Majora's Mask, you're basically like stuck in a time loop of 3 days. And your first cycle of 3 days that you go through, you're stuck as a Deku. And Deku is kind of useless. He can't really do much. And also, the world is in like a weird state called the first cycle state, and that's just because we don't have the ocarina. So on top of Deku not really being able to do a lot, there's also just not a lot to do right now. So we're going to be trying to make time go by as fast as possible. As you can see, I just talked to Grandma immediately, made it the last day. And now I'm going to go to the trading post and make it the last night really quick. And then we just have to wait the last like 6 hours until the clock tower opens, and then we can go get our ocarina back. You can definitely go for more donations, by the way.
My pleasure, Claire. $100 from Luke. It says, happy to donate. Let's help as many as we can to avoid a terrible fate. $50 from Demon Fire. Greetings from Clocktown, longtime Carnival of Time goer, first time city fleer. This donation goes towards stopping the moon from crushing my house. A noble goal, I think. That guy Kim sends in $250. Majora's Mask is one of my favorite games. Had to donate during the run. Good luck, Claire.
Thank you.
Quick check on that incentive. We are less than $3,000 away from the glitch exhibition for Untitled Goose Game. Do I have time for more?
Oh, yeah. You got time for quite a few. We're just killing time right now.
No problem. $100 coming in from Windchaser316. I always love seeing Zelda games run at GDQ events, and Majora's Mask is no exception. Good luck on the run. Leprechaun 5000 sends in $250. It says, I love watching GDQ every year, especially with my wife. Love to you, the Majora's Moon and back. Also, honk! $25 from Seffi D. I'm so ready for the Majora's Mask run. And from one angry poultry game to another, let's let this Goose Game glitch exhibition goal met. Thank you very much. $25 from Azariel. Gotta donate to the Untitled Goose Game incentive. That game gave me laughs when little else could. Mess with a honk, and you get the bonk. $25. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say real quick, just that way you don't have to, like, keep going forever. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm getting some money. I have to get 50 rupees to buy a bomb bag. And I also, you saw I got the Stray Fairy right there. That's just so that way I can get magic. You can't get out of first cycle without getting magic in a timely manner. There is a way to do it with pause buffering and like using another file, but it takes like hours to do. So not really worth it. So we're just gonna get magic, and bomb bag is only 50 rupees, so I just had to grind for 50 rupees real quick. All right, you can definitely go for more now.
Not a problem. $25 from Ultra Venus. You've met a terrible fate, haven't you? Here's a red and blue rupee to help speed up the cruel flow of time. Save the Skull Kids. $50 from Radio Chew, donating during Lonk to get more hunk. Love the Goose Glitches, love Zelda, love GDQ. Ambiguous Frog Bomb, excellent name. Ambiguous Frog Bomb sends in $50 that says, this donation is for the commentator. Your enthusiasm is absolutely amazing. More to come. And Jacob the Awesome sends in $25 that says, since the Paper Mario run had Ocarina of Time in it, hoping this run has some 1,000-year door in it. That's how it works, right?
Maybe. I guess you'll just have to wait and see.
And Awesome sends in $25 and says, excited to see the already suspect boundaries of space and time get broken even more in this Majora's Mask run. Summer sends in $100 and says, my brother introduced me to GDQ through a Majora's Mask run a few years ago, and GDQ now makes up 2 of my absolute favorite weeks of the year. Watching this game again now feels like a lovely full circle moment. Best of luck, Claire, and thank you to everyone who makes GDQ possible every year. Let's get some glitchy geese. Quickly checking in on that. Oh, wow, we have less than $1.5 thousand to get that glitch exhibition. We are within a whisper of getting that.
So something interesting is that this game is very broken. You can beat the game in 2 minutes once you get out of the intro. But what Claire's about to do right now is the biggest skip in the entire intro sequence. And it's doing what she just did to get up on top of that platform. Normally the game wants you to go get the Moons tier, which is like a, I don't know, 5 or so minute detour, because you have to play Bombers hide and seek, and then you have to go talk to the man at the telescope, and it just takes kind of a long time. So we can fortunately skip that part, but that is the only real thing we can skip here.
Speaking of, if there was a way to equip a non-transformation mask in first cycle, you could technically break out and like be human. And once you're human, your possibilities for doing things open like completely up. But as of right now, even though this game is so incredibly broken, first cycle is like the last big hurdle that we really have as far as like glitches and sequence breaks go. Like Rylie said, you can basically beat the whole game 2 minutes after you're done with first cycle, which is like 20-something minutes.
Yeah, it's 22 minutes. So that's how broken this game is and how unbroken first cycle is. It's sort of the bane of MM speedrunners, and honestly, a lot of people who would speedrun MM, but just don't want to deal with the long static intro.
Yeah, it's funny. They really pulled out all the stops for the first 3 days, and then after that, they were just like, all right, do whatever you want now. Who cares? You can definitely go for some more donations if you have some.
I might have a few. $50 from Anonymous that says, a simple haiku for this category. Get all the items with no source requirements in Majora's Mask. $100 from Odd Lasdo. So happy to see Claire back at GDQ with Majora's Mask, both my favorite Zelda game and favorite speedrun to watch. We've met with a wonderful fate.
Why, thank you. I went to go split there again when I picked up the ocarina. It's like splitting for speedruns, like the timer is like so ingrained in speedrunners' muscle memory that like literally I'm like not thinking at all. Like my brain is completely off, head empty, no thoughts during these cutscenes, but my arm just like goes to split by itself. It's very funny.
I definitely relate to that. I usually run 80%, which, again, is 22 minutes of a long static intro and only 2 minutes that, like, sort of actually matters. And so I use a lot more splits in that category just to keep things interesting. So I'm like, I just have that muscle memory to split, like, every 3 minutes.
Also, I messed up the song thing. I really wanted to not mess up the song. The song, for some reason, that instance of Song of Time, it's impossible to play correctly the first time. Like, it's so hard.
That's how the first Song of Healing is for me. I just can't do it.
That one too. Okay, so now that I got the ocarina back, I can finally play the Song of Time and go back to the start of the cycle. I'm just gonna do some equips real quick and then play the Song of Time, and then I'm gonna do the reset trick again because there's a really long cutscene that plays when you play first cycle for the first time, basically like showing you that you're going back in time, but I kind of already know we're going to do that. So I'm just going to reset and skip that really long cutscene.
Also, she's going to do something pretty important right now. Or maybe not right
yes. Yeah, right now.
now. Okay. I wasn't sure if you were doing safe strats or not. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the name of my cousin that I played video games with when I was a kid. That we'll explain that in a second for real. And we got, thank God, more cutscenes. I hope you guys weren't tired of cutscenes yet, because we still have some more. But luckily, this is like the last part before we start going quick. So, yeah, more lore. This is just a lore stream now. GDQ lore stream. And also donations, if you want to go ahead and read some more.
Impeccable timing. Because, folks, we have just unlocked the Untitled Goose Game Glitch Exhibition. If you want more gooses, well, you got them. The moose says you can have more goose. You got it. We got it. We did it. Excellent. Fantastic. And that brings our grand total to $692,000 and change. I mean, I think we can hit 700K by the end of this run. Maybe even more? Let's keep it going.
I have faith in the people. I think they can do it.
I can keep going. There's lots here.
Yeah. You keep going. Don't worry about it.
You got it. $25 from, I apologize, I must get this run, Sadier Mekevivier. Hear me out. Can we get a donation train of people who have never donated before? If you're looking for a reason to donate, maybe this is your sign. Also, please say my name as wrong as you can. I hope that was sufficient. $5 from Goose of Apocalypse that says, press X to honk. $25 from Penguin Tamer that says, all aboard the Goose Caboose. And $250 from King Kurai. Majora's Mask is my all-time favorite game. My proudest personal accomplishment with it is the 6-day challenge. So you know I love to see the game done quick. Happy to donate to a great cause. $100 from Timeless Chronicler. I intended to donate $10 per day every day, but I got a little behind, so here's the cumulative amount. And a honk for the Glitch Exhibition. $24. I'm sorry, say that again. $24 from Scarlet Ibis. Please read this during the Majora's Mask run. $1 for each mask collected. Save the animals. Also, how does Link decide to vote in elections? He goes with the majority. It's a fine choice. It's a fine choice.
I had no idea where that was going. It's a... That's a clever one.
Okay, well, we are almost done with the cutscenes, thank God. I'm going to go ahead and let Rylie take over explaining things for a little bit, because this is her specialty. So if you want to go ahead and do that.
Awesome. Yeah, so a lot's going to happen really quick, so I want to get a little bit of background out of the way, and that's understanding what an actor is. So an actor is anything in the game that you can interact with. It's basically anything except for collision. So for instance, Link is an actor, Tattle's an actor, NPCs are actors, cuckoos and dogs are actors, grass, bushes, bombs, pods, everything like that is an actor. And all of this stuff lives in a region of memory together that we call the actor heap. Claire, you're gonna... Oh, you're not resetting. Never mind. Okay.
No.
Cool. Anyway, so all this stuff lives together, and it turns out it's actually pretty easy to organize sort of how they are laid out in that region of memory. And that ends up being very useful for us, because we have a glitch in this game known as SRM. And SRM stands for Stale Reference Manipulation. The way it works basically is if you can somehow delay, start picking something up, but then delay it until that thing unloads, then Link will still try to pick it up, but it's unloaded, so he picks up nothing. And that's really powerful because even though it looks like he's carrying nothing, he's actually still writing to the XYZ coordinates and the angle of that nothing that he's carrying every single frame. So we can basically overwrite some data with that either coordinate or angle, and angle turns out to be easier to work with if we can. So anyway, Claire's just farming for some bombs right now. You know, she doesn't think that it's a good idea to be storing your bombs in the grass where other people can maybe set them off. It's not a good idea. So she's just doing a little public service cleanup here.
Looks like nobody left any in the bushes.
Yeah.
I was joking before the stream, because before the stream I was practicing, and I got 6 bomb drops from one patch of bushes. And I was so upset because I knew that I wasted all my good luck, and now we're going to be here for a while.
Yeah, bomb luck in categories that do this glitch is definitely a thing. You only have a 1/16 chance to get a bomb drop from any given bush. However, it doesn't, like, probability is a little weird in that it's actually a 50% chance to get a bomb drop from the first 27 bushes you break, even though it's only 16 or 1/16 from any given one. And then Claire's, I think, done 2 cycles already, so it's already up to like a 71% chance she would have gotten her drops by now. But she still hasn't, so this is some pretty bad luck. I think this is only like 1 in 20 odds or something like that to be, or yeah, somewhere around there to be this bad. But it happens, and of course it happens during marathons because
Of course.
that's the law.
And we still have to get another bomb drop, because we need 2, not 1.
Yeah. So one of the differences between 1.0 and 1.1, well, it's not really intended to be a difference, but when we're using this glitch, it just so happens that on 1.1 you only need 1 bomb drop, but on 1.0 you need 2. The steps we do are actually faster on 1.0, so if you get lucky, 1.0 is faster. But like right now, the amount of time Claire would save by being on 1.0 is not worth having to do that extra cycle or 2 for more bomb drops. But it's all right. This part of the run is not the most, I don't know. Claire can still get a good time, basically. The run's long enough. So anyway, yeah, let me explain what's going on here. So yeah, first Claire is going to do that thing where she breaks some pots, drops some bombs, that sort of thing, to arrange how the actors are lined up in memory. Because what we want is we want it to be the case that when Claire's carrying that invisible pot, we want the angle of that pot to overwrite a very particular thing. And what we want it to overwrite is part of the moons tier that's sitting upstairs. The moons tier is not really special besides where it is. Where it is very convenient, the fact that it's upstairs. Because it just so happens that it's off camera when you're all the way down here. And that's a big deal because what we're going to be trying to overwrite is the draw function pointer. And that's a lot of words, but essentially what it is that every actor in this game that tries to visually draw itself on the screen, the way it knows how to do that is inside of the actor, there is just a pointer to a function whose sole responsibility is to draw that actor. So every frame when that actor redraws itself, like let's say Claire's carrying a pot around, that pot has to draw itself every frame. So yeah, there's a pointer inside that actor that just points to the function that does that. But if we can overwrite the lower part of that pointer with the angle of the invisible pot, then we can make the draw function be something else. And what we're actually going to be trying to make it be is Link's angles, which sounds a little bit weird, but we can actually form code that can actually be run on the N64 with Link's angles. That is called arbitrary code execution, and it's basically the most powerful glitch any game can have, and this game has it. But yeah, so we can actually write a single line of code by using 2 of Link's angles that are right next to each other. And, you know, with a single line of code, we can't actually do that much. In fact, all we can really do is just tell the game to jump to somewhere else. So just execute some different code instead of that code. And where we're having it jump is actually Claire's file names that she typed in. They look like nonsense, but I promise you, if you look at the hexadecimal for those file names, and then you cross-reference it against the R4300 CPU manual, which is the CPU and the N64, that will be valid MIPS assembly code. And what the file names are saying to do is to jump to, well, first you're going to jump to the other file name, because she does have two file names. And then secondly, it's going to essentially write the value for termina field, the scene value for termina field, into the place that is Link's entrance. So essentially what that means is we're just going to be convincing the game that Link is in termina field, even though he's in the observatory. And that is going to have some pretty crazy consequences. Or actually, wait, no, that is not what we're doing, because we're not doing 80%.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're not doing 80%.
That's how you do it at 80%. Instead, what we're doing is we are having the game look at Claire's inventory screen. It turns out that where you put the cursor on your inventory screen is stored somewhere in memory. And so it's going to look at where that is in memory, and then it's going to write that value to a different part of memory. And, well, I'll just, I won't spoil what happens when we do that, because it's pretty cool, and I want you to see it firsthand. But that's basically what's going on. And I think I've pretty much done all the explaining I need to do, so if you want to do more donations.
Certainly can. $100 from Deku's mom. Hello, GDQ. Had to donate during Majora's Mask as I'm watching this with my dog named Deku. Pardon me, Deku. I'm thrilled to report that he gets a little confused every time he hears his name on TV. Good luck, Claire. Let's get that goose incentive.
Yes. Okay. This time we have plenty of bombs, so
that thing
hopefully I won't fail the trick again. Yeah. Bomb luck is notoriously bad for me, and also I went in with like the least amount of bombs possible the first time, so I ran out of bombs, and that's fine. That's why I saved again, so that way we wouldn't have to watch those cutscenes, just in case that happened. It's not a big deal. We can just literally try it again. I just had to write that file name real quick.
Yeah. One more thing I want to mention that's just kind of interesting is that this place we're in, the observatory, it is an extremely broken area of the video game. It is the most broken area of the video game. And you wouldn't think it. Like, you wouldn't think it. There's nothing here. There's like a Skulltula, there's some pots, there's a guy with a telescope, but this area is so broken. It has everything we need for SRM, and it's super close to the start of the game. It has a pot, it has a loading plane, it even has an upstairs that's like way above the downstairs, so that way it's never on screen. This area is just awesome for this glitch, and I'm just very happy that the developers designed it the way they did, because it's very convenient. Oh, and it has lots of different walls too. What Claire's doing right now, she's targeting a wall, so that way she can get an initial angle, and then she's spinning in circles for a little while to change that to a different angle. So what she's doing right now is that part where she's trying to overwrite the lower part of the draw function pointer, and she's trying to overwrite it with the value 0A64, which will correspond to Link's other angles, which she's setting up right now. So right now she is setting up her last targeted angle, and now she is setting up her facing angle. So she's going to do a little setup to get hit with a bomb a precise distance away from the bomb, which causes a precise change to her angle. Everything we're doing here with the angles is unit perfect. There is no room for error on this, but fortunately, well, I guess this is tooting my own horn a little bit, but I spent a long time looking for an angle setup that would be really easy to do, and this is what we came up with. So anyway, Claire's going to put her cursor on certain parts of her inventory, and then she's going to pull out the ocarina. That causes the upstairs of the observatory to get on the camera, which causes the moon's tier to start trying to draw itself. But because of all that crazy code in our file names, what actually ends up happening is we pulled up the internal debugging menu of the game. And this is something that developers put in to make it easier for them to debug, because Zelda is a video game that has a lot of items and a lot of like things that are locked behind certain items, and so if you're trying to test like the entire game, you really just need a way to give yourself items easily, and this is it. It's in Japanese, most of it anyway, so it's a little hard to see what's going on, and the targeting bars from the ocarina are covering up part of it, but Claire has it memorized. So she's basically giving herself items, some of the masks, but not all of them, because some of them we're going to be actually getting from Source later. Boss keys, sword, or actually, yeah, you can do sword. And then she's going to save and reset. I think if you don't reset, the game actually crashes, right?
It
Something
does.
like that.
It crashes, yes.
So anyway, she just gave herself almost everything in the game. And so you may be thinking the run is over, but it's actually not, because for a couple reasons, but mainly it's because this game has the Bomber's Notebook, which is basically your little quest log of how many like side quests you've done. And you have to do all of those side quests for the 100% definition, and you can't give those to yourself with the debug menu. So Claire's going to be spending quite some time doing that, and also mopping up some other loose ends like tingle maps and things like that. What are you doing now, Claire? I haven't seen this glitch in like 3 years.
So right now I'm going to hit this owl in West Clocktown. So the owl in West Clocktown is actually a different owl than the owl in South Clocktown. But it's like just there to show that, oh yeah, the owl is here. This owl has a very special property in that it doesn't actually have like a soar point assigned to it. So we can exploit that to our advantage. And we're going to hit it, and then we're not going to hit any other owls for a while. And basically what hitting this owl will do is it allows us to basically soar to a bunch of places depending on where the cursor is in our map menu, because the map menu and the soaring menu are like interlocked. Basically, like they like share, I'm not entirely sure, like, but they basically just coincide with each other. But yeah, that's why I hit that owl. It will be useful for quite a bit of this run. We will still have to hit every owl, even though we can soar to all the owls. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Right there, I did a glitch called Time Stop by pulling my ocarina in front of the Gossip Stone and then quickly canceling it. And basically, there is a like really long cutscene in front of the swamp right here, and you can use Time Stop to skip that cutscene. Also, you may be wondering, so we went through the debug menu and did all that fun stuff, so why are we still like playing the game? Why don't we just go fight the final boss? Well, there's actually a lot of stuff that you still have to do that the debug menu can't do. Like, there are some great fairy rewards that for some reason the debug menu won't actually give you. That is double magic and the great spin. Double magic and double defense are actually tied together, so even though I gave myself double defense, I still have to get double magic from Source just because the developer's own debug menu, it like doesn't work right. Also, you can't give yourself tingle maps in the debug menu, and you can't hit the owls with the debug menu, and you can't fill out the Bomber's Notebook with the debug menu, and that's really the big one. So here I'm going to use my first instance of what is called Index Warp. It's what happens when you hit that hidden owl. As you can see, there were no owls showing up on like my soaring screen, and it's gonna let me soar to Great Bay because Great Bay is the default on the menu if you don't have anything highlighted. I don't know why. You would think Clocktown would be, but for some reason it's not. And here is a glitch called a ESS, more specifically a Zora ESS. And basically what that does, it preserves the speed that you get when you start swimming in the water. And that lets you go really fast over land. And you may notice that we already have 29 Skulltulas in the Oceanside Spider House. Now we have 30. Cool. We did the whole Oceanside Spider House right there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that was your favorite part of the run. because we definitely spent a lot of time here.
In my opinion, Oceanside Spider House is like one of the great travesties of this game because there's a lot of ways that we can skip it, and it's by far the more fun of the two spider houses. But the other spider house, it's very difficult to skip. In fact, it's only recently that it's even been theoretically possible, but we still don't have a setup for it. So yeah, it's just a sad thing.
Okay, actually, so now we're gonna go to. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
I was just gonna say, do you skip the Swamp Spider House in this run? I forget.
Yes, you don't have to go there because your reward is the Mask of Truth, and you can just give yourself that with the debug menu.
Right.
However, you can't give yourself wallets with the debug menu, so we still had to get one Skulltula and Oceanside to get the adult wallet. Because if you give yourself 30, the guy who like shows up there actually doesn't show up. But if you give yourself 29 and kill one, then he'll show up. It's really weird. I don't know why it's like that. There is actually also a trick to like duplicate wallet upgrades, but that's actually slower than just using the debug menu to go to Oceanside Spider House.
Would now be a good time for more donations, Claire?
Oh yeah, one thing that I'm just gonna reiterate real quick, and then we can definitely do some donations, is you may notice I'm talking to Malin. I actually already have a Pono, not Malin, what's her name? Romani. I wrote it down as Malin on this script, I don't know why, but her name is Romani. And I am doing the quest to like get a Pono song, even though I already have a Pono song. That's because to get the Bomber's Notebook ribbon for Romani, you still have to do this side quest, whether you already gave yourself a Pono song or not. But yeah, you can definitely read some donations right now if you would like.
You betcha. $1,000 from Tureen. My bank account had some money that I don't remember depositing. The bank teller told me I deposited in another timeline. I don't really get it, but I figured the best thing to do with it is to donate it to Doctors Without Borders. Thank you so very, very much. $5 from Knight Cavalry. Oh, hi, Claire. Hit me. No puns today. You're welcome. Good luck with the run.
Thank you.
$50 from, oh, wow, 87S. Listen, how do you say your file name?
You know, it's funny because Rylie has like a phonetic device for the any % file names, but I actually don't have a phonetic device for that. So I could just say like 87S, what is it? What? And then it's like small 2, and then I don't know. I don't know all the like letters in the Japanese alphabet, but it's something like that.
Let's go with 87S, gives $50 and says, oh, hey, that's my name too. What a coincidence. Yeah. Okay.
I believe it.
You know what's funny?
It's
There's
a pretty
actually
common
a character
name
in this game that has that same name. It's a Goron that tries to check into the Stockpot Inn, who always has the same name as your character. So even if you give your character a ridiculous name like this, he'll have that name.
Can I read one more?
Oh, yeah.
Miss Mellowy sends in $125, says, I look forward to Zelda speedruns at every GDQ event. Ready to be shocked and stunned by this 100% no source requirement run. Good luck, Claire. Play us a tune on that Honkarina of Time.
I'm playing one
I
right
see
now.
what you did there.
Just for you. Because you asked so nicely.
$25 from Colette the Cat. Hi. Right now I'm sleeping in my dad's arm, but luckily I can donate money with my mind. I like the moon in this game. It reminds me of the face I make as the birds outside the window. That's not terrifying at all, I think.
Nah.
And we have another $125 from Miss Mellowy. Says, I work in cybersecurity and I love the parallels between speedrunning and what I do for a living. Every speedrunner is a hacker.
All right, so now we're going to the mountains. We do have like a couple things to do in the mountains. We'll have to hit the owls eventually. But the glitch that we have right now that's active that lets us soar anywhere will actually get canceled as soon as we hit another owl. But we also need to go get the tingle maps because, once again, tingle maps are part of the 100% definition. So we're going to go say hi to our buddy Tingle. And then after that, okay, first of all, you may notice that it looks like I have 188 rupees right now. That's not true. I actually have /88 rupees. And you'll see in a second when I go and buy more tingle maps because this won't quite give us enough to go down. But after we have /68 rupees, we'll have however many rupees. So, you know, just like counting goes, it's like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, /. I don't actually know what comes after that. I think after that it's like glitched characters. But now we're just going to come to Goron Village real quick, and we're going to leave immediately. This is just to set a warp point for later, specifically the one for Stone Tower, which is a really convenient one to just be able to soar to, so you don't have to actually go up Stone Tower. So now, even though we already have the Bomber's Notebook, like I said, we have to actually get all the ribbons. So we're going to start the Bomber's Notebook quest, as well as get more tingle maps. If you want to go ahead and read like one donation or two, that would be cool.
No problem. Pattern Match sends in $100. That's, it says hacker voice. I'll do my best. I'm in. Time to give myself all the items. Thank you very much. I hope that'll do.
You have time for one more.
No problem. $35.22 from Too Shy. It's not too late to keep the hog train going, right? Definitely not. Keep it going.
Okay, so now we're going to start the Bomber's Notebook quest, and then after that, we're going to start using the Sun Song to make time go by really fast. So in case you didn't know, the Sun Song is in fact in this game, even though you can't get it normally. You can get it with the debug menu or with like some other glitches. It's literally just an item that was left in the game for some reason. And it works the exact same way it does in OOTE, and that it makes time go by really fast until the next day. While that may be kind of scary to use for casual runners, because you would need to obviously get to a lot of in-game time stuff at very specific times, and that's not always very easy to do when time is going literally super fast, like you're about to see how fast it goes. But it's really convenient for speed runs because you can do in-game time stuff in basically a way more convenient order. So yeah, I just went from like 8 o'clock to 2 real quick. And now I'm going to go get the notebook ribbon for the mayor by using the couples mask. I will still have to do the Anjeo and Cafe side quests, so if that's your favorite side quest, don't worry. We actually still have to do that. But we can get the reward now because you can still get the notebook ribbon for the couples mask even though you've already got it in your inventory. It's one of like half the masks in this game, you can't get the ribbon if you have already gotten the mask, which is why I didn't just give myself every mask to start off with, but some of them, they'll still let you do it. It just kind of depends. It's case by case. I don't know. This game is made really weird in that way, where like it makes contingencies for some things, but not for others. I guess they really just did not consider that you could just pull up the developer menu and give yourself all these items in casual play, which, you know, I guess that's on them.
Right. Something else interesting about the Bomber's Notebook that I actually didn't know until very recently is that the ribbons in it, which is technically what we're trying to collect, those are not stored in the game's memory anywhere. What it actually is if you have done all the steps for that line of the Bomber's Notebook, the game just visually draws a ribbon there. But there's no way for us to just use these really powerful glitches to write the ribbons in. What we have to do is we have to just mark every single step as complete, which turns out is way more difficult to do. I'm actually working on a new route for this category, and it's still going to have to do some of the side quest stuff, just because we can't actually mark every single step complete. It just doesn't work. So we just mark most of them complete and then do the rest in the new route. Keep your eyes peeled. Maybe that'll be in a future GDQ.
So the reason I made it 2 o'clock earlier was to get the room key. However, like I said, it's really hard to... Ooh, hold on. So I played Sun Song on accident, and that's not good.
Oh no.
Luckily, I can just soar out and keep it from actually, making time go forward. But playing Sun Song on accident is pretty catastrophic because there's a lot of in-game time stuff that needs to be done. What I usually do here is I usually get the room key, talk to her to set the midnight meeting, and then I play Sun Song. But it's already night 1, so that is not a very good idea to do. However, I sort out, so it's fine. Up here, I'm gonna get the 4th bomber kid. I did actually talk to her, right? I'm pretty sure I did. Oh well, I guess we'll see. Okay, so now I'm gonna go deposit some money and get the adult's wallet. And then coming up is the Postman's Heart Piece minigame. And if you know anything about this game, you know that that game is infamous for being very difficult. But on the Japanese version of the game, it's actually even more difficult than the English version of the game. Because while the English version of the game will give you a little bit more time, it gives you like the frame before, the frame of, and the frame after 10 seconds. The Japanese version of the game actually only gives you 1/60th of a second. It's input frame perfect. This game runs at 20 frames per second visually, but 60 frames per second input wise. So this minigame is 1/60th of a second perfect, and the visual frame can give you 3 different frames. So we'll see how many tries it takes to get it. Sometimes I can get it in 1 try, sometimes it's like 10. It really just matters on basically whether the gods smiled down on me or not.
Fortunately, though, it is a little bit less luck on N64 than it is on the Wii version, which is usually what you see being speedrun. And the reason why is because the sort of the timing of it is actually based on the internal clock, and the N64's internal clock is a different speed than the Wii's internal clock. And so when the Wii's trying to emulate this N64, it basically just divides its own clock down to make it slower, but it can only divide by whole numbers. And it turns out that 729, there is no whole number you can divide that by to get 93.7, I think, is what the N64's is. So you basically end up with sometimes where you hit the right input frame, but it still doesn't give it to you on the Wii. But on the N64, that doesn't happen. If you get the right input frame, you'll get it.
All right, so that was an instance where I got the right visual frame, but the input frame was off.
Oh, and by the way Claire's doing this, casually, you're technically supposed to get the bunny hood, because then it'll show the actual timer on the screen, but it's actually a lot easier to use this visual cue that we made for when there isn't even a bunny hood in question. Like if you're doing 100% with source requirement, you won't have the bunny hood yet. So it turns out that when you're targeting the postman, the little blue triangles that indicate you're targeting him, they spin over his head. And when the 19th one passes his head, that is the correct visual frame to press the button. Now, it's still a 1 in 3 shot whether you're going to hit the right input frame. So you sort of just You either have to get lucky or have your own internal sense of rhythm, because you can't completely rely on visuals. But
And as you can see, this is extremely brutal. I've gotten the visual frame like a bunch of times now. Also, this visual cue is a little bit different on 64, which throws me off a little bit.
oh, it is? I didn't even know that.
It's like the frame before it's right above his head, because
the
lag makes it different.
That's so devious. Yeah, that would mess me up too.
All right, we did it.
There
Nice.
you go. Nice.
Like I said, sometimes I get it in one try, sometimes I get it in a million tries. It just really depends on whether I can get lucky and get the right input frame the first time or not. Okay, and that's the last bomber kid. So now we're gonna get, not the bomber's notebook, but we're gonna get the ribbon for the bomber's notebook, which is pretty funny. That you would get the ribbon for the bomber's notebook separate than actually just getting the bomber's notebook. But yeah. It is what it is, and now we're going to roll over here and we're going to play Song again to make it close to midnight for the midnight meeting. Nice, and I also got, I got the starting of the cutscene when I rolled through, which is pretty cool. In the 1.0 version of the game, you can actually move in that cutscene.
So if you were on 1.1, you would have just been stopped in your tracks, right?
Yes. So I don't think we actually like explained what hovering is. Rylie, if you want to go ahead and explain what hovering is, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, sure. So hovering is one of those glitches that is pretty much what everybody thinks of when they think of glitch Majora's Mask speedruns, but it's not as useful when we're using these super powerful glitches like SRM. We still use it some though, but basically what it is so it relies on another glitch called ISG, which is the infinite sword glitch. There's a couple of different ways you can make it to where Link is infinitely slashing his sword. The most common ones would be to just do a crouch stab and like pick up a bomb or talk to an NPC, as well as to do a crouch stab right when the bomb's exploding and have the explosion hit your shield, and then the shield will interrupt the crouch stab. It basically all relies on interrupting crouch stabs, although isn't there a way to do it as Deku with like a jump slash or something if you have Deku sword? I don't know exactly how that one works.
Well, the only thing that you could really do with Deku's sword is like recoiling off of something, which will actually soft lock you.
Oh, okay. So maybe not that then, but anyway, so when you have ISG active, it's pretty interesting because the thing about slashing your sword in this game, which I think might actually be different than OOT, I'm not sure, but in MM, when you're slashing your sword, you can't fall off an edge. Actually, no, I think that is true in OOT as well.
It is.
Okay, yeah. It's just in OOT you go backwards instead of forwards, which confuses me when you slash. But anyway, yeah, so the game won't let you fall off an edge while you're slashing your sword, which sort of makes sense because, like, I mean, imagine if it was real life. Like, are you really going to swing your sword so wildly that you just fall off an edge? Like, no, we have, like, internal fears of heights, right? We're not going to let ourselves do that. So the game doesn't let you do that either. But what's really, really interesting is that if you shield damage in the air, the game thinks you're on a ledge for a brief second. And so if you shield damage in the air while you have Infinite Sword Glitch active, it thinks you're on a ledge, and you can't fall off that ledge because you're slashing your sword. So you just sort of float in the air. There is one little caveat with it though, which is that if basically there's like a certain gravity to this game, and you can basically fall a certain number of, let's call it feet per frame. I mean, it would probably be more considered units, but sort of if you're falling more than that number of units per frame, you'll actually end up on the ground if that hits the ground. If it's the amounts of distance you can travel in one frame is less than the height you are above the ground, you'll actually just snap back to the ground. So you actually have to do 2 hovers unless you start on an elevated surface. You have to do 2 in quick succession before you're like stuck up there. But hovering's a pretty cool glitch. It allows us to get to a lot of areas that we couldn't otherwise get to. It lets us get to high areas and also areas that have a big gap. So what Claire did to get into that milk bar there was to actually just side hop out of bounds, which is pretty easy to do, and then just stop her falling, and then side hop back towards the door. The doors aren't actually what changes the scene. It's a loading zone that's behind the door. So she doesn't actually have to open the door to get in. She just has to like sort of be in that general volume behind the door.
So now it is midnight on day 1, which means it's around the time for the aliens to attack the barn. Usually what you would do is you would fight them with your arrows and keep them from getting there before it turns 5:15 in the morning. However, when you have the sun song, you can do something a little bit different. So I'm just going to play the sun song right now, and time's going to start going by really fast. And next what I'm going to do is I'm going to mash pause, and what that will do is it'll make time go by without actual, like, gameplay advancing. So I'm just going to keep pausing, and if you look at my clock when it comes up during the pausing, you can see it's, like, going forward really fast. Like, it's already almost daytime. And if I just keep doing this... the aliens will get defeated, and they didn't even actually go anywhere. A real fun use of the sun song in Majora's Mask. Definitely, I think, probably my favorite use of it. And we did it. We accomplished our goal, and we saved the ranch. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to make it night 2 as fast as possible. You'll notice that I haven't been playing the Song of Double Time at all. Usually in any situation where you would use Song of Double Time, it is like always better to use Sun Song because Sun Song is just faster. However, there is one use of the Song of Double Time that I'm going to exploit right here, and that is to do a cutscene skip for the Cremia carriage ride. So on the second night, if you save the ranch, Cremia will like ask you to help her deliver milk to town. And you'll go on this really long cutscene where you basically just talk about how she is explaining her life and that the moon might fall. But you can just skip all of that by playing Song of Double Time by doing Time Stop. Because if you do Time Stop in front of a Gossip Stone, you can actually play the ocarina while moving. And then if you mash A to confirm the Song of Double Time text while it's fading out, it'll actually put you back on the dawn of the second day. So even though we were just on the night of the second day, it's now the dawn of the second day. So this cycle of days, 3 days, is actually like 4 days long. So now we're just going to take the horse and we're going to go race the Gorman brothers to get the Garo mask. And this is a pretty tame part of the run. If you want to read a couple donations, that would be more than okay.
It's more than okay. I've got lots to choose from here. 72-pin connector sends in $200 and says, had to donate during Majora's Mask, one of my all-time favorite games. Great job on the run so far. Michael Angel sends in $25 and says, I love me a good, comfy Majora's Mask run. I'd like to order 5 honks, please. Smiley face. $5 from K. Well then. Whoa! You can use the developer's debug menu to assign money from your bank account to MSF.
That's a good one. I like that one.
That's a really good one. Miss Maddie J sends in $5, says, donating for all the hard work that went into completing the Oceanside Spider House. I'm gonna be honest, I hated that place when I was a kid. I still hate that now. So, I mean, that's efficiency, right? I love it.
Right. We love skipping things.
The Sloman Shield sends in $251, says, wait, that's ClaireLynnD? Someone get this woman a party hat. Good luck with the run, Claire. And I want to take a look at our grand total here. Oh, wow. We are less than $3,000 away from $700,000 raised. We got to get this, right? We can do this.
Okay, so something really funny that is about to come up. So the Circus Leader's mask is an interesting mask. It only really has one use in the whole game. And technically, you're not supposed to be able to get the Circus Leader's mask until after you've already completed the quest that you can use it for. However, this is a very unique speedrun in that you actually get the Circus Leader's mask and you can use it for its intended purpose. So why wouldn't I do that? Basically, what the Circus Leader's mask will do is it keeps these guys from trying to attack the carriage while you're riding on it. Usually, you need Romani's mask to get into the milk bar to get the Circus Leader's mask, which is after the carriage ride. So this is probably the only speedrun you'll ever see where you actually see the intended use of the Circus Leader's mask. Also, you may notice that Link is doing a little funny pose here. I don't really know why this happens, but if you play Sun Song to start this minigame, in here on the 1.0 version, he'll just do this. He'll do it on other versions too, but you have to like crouch stab at the right time. He just does it on the 1.0 version. And now that we've done some T-posing in midair, we're just gonna stare up at the sky to reduce lag because N64 is very laggy. And looking up at the sky will cause it to not load or like render the actors, which will make this little carriage ride go faster. So I just think this part of the run is so silly because like you would never see this in like any other normal speed run. But I think it's neat.
Yeah, I love the T-posing Link wearing the crying mask. That mask actually cries. I don't know if you could see it, but it has like little teardrops running from its face. Pretty neat.
Okay, so now we're just gonna do some more advancing the couples mask side quest, so you can definitely go for some more donations.
You got it, Claire. $200 from Sai. Hey, GDQ, loving this Majora's Mask run. It's great to see a game I thought was impossible as a kid to get taken apart so elegantly. Thanks to all the runners, staff, and Doctors Without Borders for all you do. Donation goes to Runner's Choice. $10 from the Hat in Time Speedrun Discord. Shoutouts and much love to Claire from the Hat in Time Discord. Please, please remember to, as always, win early and die late. Good luck, you're the best. Doka, Plurm, Flare Bear, and the others. Donation incentive, Hero Story in Sonic for Pumpkin Hill Music.
Oh, I used to run Hat in Time back in the day, and that's a little touching. I like that. Thank you.
Dragon Pasta sends in $250 that says, it's been a rough year, but I'm grateful that I'm still able to donate during this amazing event. And what better time to donate than during Majora's Mask? Much love to the Zelda community and to all the runners, commentators, and donators. Thank you, Dragon Pasta. Breeze Home sends in $300 and says, thanks so much for running my favorite game. Majora's Mask was the first run I ever saw, and a game I hope I can run with a respectable time someday. I'll get that weird shot soon. Do I have time for another?
Oh yeah, you got
Okay.
time for a few more.
You got it. $75 from M. Kelly. I'm not much of a gamer, and I've never done a speedrun, but I've fallen under the spell, and I'm a GDQ fan for life. To all the runners, commentators, hosts, and everyone else who make it possible, I say, you are a light in the darkness. Thanks for making something special and sharing it with the world. And following up on that, I have $150 from Gopher that simply says, "You guys rock." $50 from The Fragrance of Dark Coffee. Keep on, keep it on, GDQ. $25 from Helen and Greg. Great job to all the runners, commenters, and tech crew so far. Just going to refresh my overall total here. We are almost at $698,000. Almost there. We can get it. We can get this 700.
Okay, I think you have time for one more, and then I'll have to start explaining stuff again.
No problem. $1,000 from preferred name / alias that says, "Enter comment here." Short and sweet. I like it.
I like it as well. Okay, so now we've made it night 3. We've completed... Oh, well, let me go ahead and actually make it night 3 real quick. I entered a little bit early. But once we make it night 3, we can go into Cafe's Hideout and we can get the Keaton mask and the priority mail. The priority mail is actually an interesting item because it is good for 2 different bombers like ribbons. It's good for the postman's ribbon and it's good for Madame Aroma's ribbon. One thing that has plagued the speedrun in the past is that you always had to get the priority mail twice in a speedrun. However, I'm about to have to do a one-time chance trick to basically give the priority mail to the postman and then immediately get the priority mail back by using a trick known as Equip Swap. Equip Swap just basically allows you to equip items from other slots onto basically your like topmost to the right, topmost to the left, bottom both corners as well. And another property is that you can equip things that have already left your menu. So I'm going to try to hit it here. Nice, I actually got it. Okay,
you did it.
So that basically just skips me having to get priority mail again. And now I'm going to sword a stone tower, and I'm going to start actually hitting the owls. You still have to go through all of Termina and hit all the owls. It's just a requirement of the run. And also, luckily, the next place we have to go is in Ikana, so this just works out. Also, hitting the stone tower owl first is usually the best move because it is the most out of the way to hit. Like I said earlier, sorry. Like I said earlier, the stone tower owl is like the most time-consuming owl to hit. So it's definitely the one you usually want to hit first. So now our hidden owl glitch is done, and we're going to start hitting the owls around Termina Field, and we are locked to the owls that we have hit. Coming up, though, we're going to be going to Sakan's hideout to finish the cafe part of the Anjuan Cafe side quest. It's basically just like a little minigame area where you have to do a bunch of like challenges with block puzzles and stuff. It's pretty straightforward. However, you can actually skip most of the stuff in the actual like sequence by doing a hover over the wall and landing on the middle part where like the conveyor belt is. So that's what I'm going to try to do here.
Are you going to do fish strats? Oh no, no fish strats.
Okay, pause buffering on N64 is very hard, and I would have to pause buffer that, so no. Also, an interesting thing to note is usually if you fail this minigame, you don't get another try. Like, the cycle is basically dead, and you have to redo the entire side quest again. However, I'm sure you noticed me do a clip into this area. If you come back into this area after failing, it'll literally just let you try it again. So that's like an interesting thing. If you've ever failed this minigame and thought that you were just stuck and you're gonna have to do the whole side quest again, you can literally just clip in. It's super easy to clip into this Sakan's hideout, and you can just try it again. So yeah, I'm going to do another hover over the wall. This wall is like a lot higher than it looks. It looks like it should just take a few hovers, but it takes like 8. And I pressed the priority mail button because usually my bombs are on C left.
This is very laggy on N64. Explosions
yes,
really lag the game a lot.
It is really laggy even on Virtual Console for the Wii, but N64 it's like really bad. So I have to be really careful. You saw I like let a true run on the wall there. I have to like really go slow with the hovers to make sure that they don't like, I don't waste a bunch of chews trying to do the hover. But I mean, that's basically it. I did the whole side quest and now I just have to meet them in the Stockpot Inn for the last part. Also, a thing about the equip swap that I did to keep the priority mail, I cannot equip anything over the priority mail or else I will lose it. So that just has to stay on a C button until I use it the way I want to use it. So I'm going to be doing like a little bit of weird equipping. Like I'm going to put on Goron Mask and then I'm actually going to change to human after I get to the guard over here. So that way I can equip the red potion. And then I'll give the red potion and that'll finish this side quest. And like I said earlier, I can't just soar to whatever owl statue I want anymore. So I'm going to have to actually traverse back to Clocktown like the normal way. But I can do a glitch, or it's not really a glitch. It's a trick called Goron Bomb Boosting. And that'll let me get over these fences really quickly. They're supposed to be like, you're supposed to use opponent to get over them, and you can technically do that, but this is faster. Also, this trick, if you ever wanted to try a trick in Majora's Mask, I would definitely suggest trying this trick out. Like, it is very easy to do. Like, you can get over these fences no problem. Between that and like Infinite Sword Glitch, those are like definitely the two easiest tricks to learn how to do.
Also,
if you want to
jumps.
just like casually do one. Oh yeah, long jumps too. We don't do any of those in this run, but long jumps are also very easy to do.
For those who would just drop a bomb behind you and stand close to an edge, you can slash to get closer to the edge, and sort of the closer you are, the faster you'll go. It's pretty cool. The interesting thing though is that the way this game does physics calculations, it's not normally it would be based on like the angle between you and the bomb where you would go. Like that's what you would think would happen. But it's actually based on the angle Link is facing. So like if you face towards the bomb, even if it's behind you, you won't actually get pushed off the edge. It's really funny. The Majora fight also works kind of like that.
All right, so now we're just going to be doing, basically, I like to call it the tour of Termina in the final hours to hit all of the owls, because there's not really a lot to do else left in the game. Like, we've pretty much already almost done everything, but we still have to go around and hit all the owls. So it's going to be a little tame for a minute. If you wanted to read some donations, that would be awesome.
Certainly. We are within $1,000 of reaching 700,000 for the grand total. We're so close. It's gonna happen. It has to happen. I have $100 from MacAnimal. So glad that SCGQ is. Let me try that again. I'm too excited. So glad that SCGQ is back to raise all our spirits with great runs and a great cause. Shout out to all the staff for putting on another great event. I gotta try this one. $20 from Sushi Elemental. When the moon hits the sky and we're all gonna die, it's Majora.
That was beautiful.
It really was.
Quickly move on. $100 from Johnson. Long-time watcher, first-time donator, got a decent job next to university and decided to show some appreciation for the amazing work and people at GDQ. And $25 from Syndrus. More SUDQ is good SUDQ. $20 from Vincent B. This is probably my third SUDQ I've watched, and I absolutely love the passion and support for such a great cause. And that goes doubly so after the whirlwind of a year we had in 2020. Good work on keeping up with these events. It's a breath of fresh air when gaming comes together and gives back. Cheers to everyone involved. Have a great week. And I have $10 from Robin. Want to say thank you to all playing at GDQ. My husband introduced GDQ to me when we were dating, and we have watched every year since. We are now 37 weeks pregnant with our daughter Zelda, and I can't wait to watch with her. It's not a lot because we don't have much to donate, but I hope it helps. Shout out to my amazing hubby Daniel for introducing me and our little family to GDQ. That is so sweet. That's got to be the sweetest donation I've read the entire week. Thank you.
That was very sweet.
Okay, so now we're just gonna go hit the Zora Cape Owl, and then we're actually gonna soar back to Clocktown. We're done with everything we need to do in what is this place called? The ocean? Great Bay. That's what it's called. This is all we have to do in Great Bay, and then after that, we're done with this place for forever, and we're going to go back to Clocktown, and we're gonna go the other way, and we're gonna start hitting the mountain owls. And after we hit the mountain owls, we'll actually start collecting the other fairy rewards that we still have to get, because we still have to get double magic, and we have to get the great spin.
Wait, what about double defense?
Oh, do I not have double defense? I should have double defense. Oh, I don't have double defense. Good call. Yeah, I was supposed to get that with the debug menu, but I guess I forgot. So I can definitely just get that again.
I mean,
That's
you're right
totally
here.
Fine.
You're right here. You might as well get it now, right?
I don't have the fairies, though.
Oh, you don't have the fairies? Oh,
yeah,
no.
I'll have to use the debug menu, but it's really not that big of a deal. It'll take like a few minutes.
You mean you don't want to go into Great Bay Temple and get them all from source?
Believe it or not, I don't exactly want to spend all the time to do that on N64. Actually, a funny thing about this run is, I don't know if you've noticed, but we haven't gone to a dungeon yet. We're actually not going to go to a dungeon the entire run. This run is literally dungeonless. The like whole Zelda thing about dungeon crawling and stuff. It's just not even in this run. It's not even in this game. There's not dungeons in this game. I don't know what you're talking about.
Claire, I'm so sorry. Can I interrupt very quickly?
Oh yeah, for sure.
We just hit $700,000. Bravo.
Wow. Nice job,
Bravo.
Guys. You can go ahead and read some more donations if you want.
Oh, sure. Sorry to cut you off.
No, no, you're good.
$100 from Golden Phoenix. GDQ events are some of the biggest highlights of my year. Fan forever. And constantly in awe of the good the speedrunning community does through GDQ. $100 from Chroma SDK. How appropriate. For all you donators, thank you for being such beautiful beacons of light. Brings a tear to my eye. $25 from Ventus Fair. I am donating to hear the sweet voice of the announcer. Good luck to all the streamers. Stay safe. Stay amazing. $25 from Lonk. I am over the moon to see Majora's Mask at this year's SGDQ. Keep up the amazing run, and don't forget to hydrate with some tasty Lon milk. I might have a few more if I still have time.
Yeah. You got time for a couple more.
Okay. $50 from Kat. Gotta love everything you guys are doing, both for Doctors Without Borders and for the gaming community every summer and winter. If it weren't for y'all, I'd be totally bored during these hot days inside. Keep it up. Chelsea and Tyler send in $50. Hi there, runners and staff. It's our 7th consecutive year of donating to SGDQ. Thanks for everything you do, and have fun this week. Duffy sends in $50 and says, started watching GDQ a decade ago when I was still in high school, and it's been a constant source of enjoyment every year since. It's so inspiring seeing how much money the community is able to raise year in and year out. Big shout out to the crew for putting together such a consistently awesome event.
All right, you got time for like one or two more.
Sure. $250 from Kurai Okami. Long-time watcher, first time I've been able to donate more than just a few bucks. I just had to donate during one of my favorite games. Keep up the great work for such a great cause. $50 from Anonymous. Won't be able to donate during the CDI masterpiece Link Faces of Evil, but loving this Majora's Mask run. Thank you everybody for such a great marathon. $1 million hype!
Okay, Rylie, would you like to explain what I'm about to do with the Fairy Fountain alternate exits?
Oh yeah, of course. So this game, it employs a couple tricks to essentially save space and also save processing power. So a couple different rooms can be on the same, what's called a scene. A scene, it's usually called like a map in other games, but in this game it's called a scene. But some of the rooms can just have their visuals turned off, so the room is basically unloaded, but the collision is always still there. And it turns out that loading zones are actually just a specially marked collision triangle. So, since all the collision for all the fairy fountains is actually on the same scene, we can go to any of them that we want from any other one. We have to do it blind because, like I said, the visuals for the room are not loaded, but the collision is. So, if you get over that fairy fountain, you don't have to worry about falling out of bounds, and you can hit that loading zone, which is itself just a piece of collision. So right now, Claire is in the Snowhead Fairy Fountain, and she's going to the... So I think you're going to Woodfall, is that right?
I'm going to Woodfall, yes.
All right, so she's going to pop out at Woodfall here, and then just go right back in to get the fairy reward. For this one, we can actually skip the cutscene by just voiding in the out-of-bounds water. That doesn't work for double defense and double magic because those ones give you the cutscene, or give you the item like during the cutscene, but for the other three fairy rewards, wow, I can't talk right now, I'm tired. For the other three, they give it to you at the beginning of the cutscene, so you can basically just start the cutscene, void out, and skip the whole thing.
Okay, and now we're gonna hit our last two owls, and since the, temple isn't raised or anything, and we're coming in from the other way, we have to... Wow. Okay, so there's another interesting thing. The hitboxes for, the Deku flower spawning will, push you off of the log sometimes. It's really dumb. This game was really well made, especially the 1.0 version. But this is just, a little funny thing that you do because this is the fastest way to go across the swamp. I'm literally just gonna roll in, get knocked over and over again to get to the front. So I hope you enjoy seeing Goron Link in pain. All right, we made it. So now we get to roll through more poison water to reach the last owl, and then we will finally finish the cycle and play the Song of Time. And then after that, we only have a few more things that we have to do, including getting double defense. Thank you for noticing that. I didn't even notice that I didn't put double defense on.
Yeah, it's weird. My brain was sort of, because like I said, I've been working on a new route for this, and one of the things that we've been having to juggle with is that the double defense is actually split into two different, basically, flags. One of them is whether you get the damage reduction, so like basically stuff does half damage to you. The other is the visual white outline around the hearts. And of course, these are like completely separated. They're very far apart in memory. And so I was sort of just thinking, oh, Claire got the damage reduction, but not the outline around the hearts. But no, she's running the current route, not the new route. So she actually didn't get any of it at all. And I wasn't even thinking about that until she was in Sora Cape right by the double defense bouncer. I'm like, hey, where's your white outline?
Also, I totally could have gone through the bottom entrance here, but I'm so used to having room key at this point that like I forgot you can just do that on night 3. But oh well. This is everyone's favorite heart piece, the Toilet Man.
Speaking of which, Claire said earlier that the Express Mail is good for 2 quests. It's actually good for 3, because you can give it to the Toilet Hand too. But it's not required for Toilet Hand. There's a lot of things you can give to him, because he's just looking for toilet paper. So anything that's paper is totally fine. You can use Express Mail, you can use Letter to Cafe, you can even use the land title deeds, which I think is what you just used right there, is the land title deed.
It is, yeah. Okay, so I just played one last Song of Soaring, or not Song of Soaring, Sun Song. I get those two mixed up in my head a lot. I played the last Sun Song of this cycle to make basically this cutscene start quicker. This cutscene is pretty interesting on 1.0. It's definitely like not finished, and you'll see Cafe like sliding around a lot instead of like walking, and then he'll like, while he's supposed to be standing still, he'll like teleport backwards and go forwards. Like, look right here. he like teleports backwards and then slides forwards. He does it again here in a second. That's literally a 1.0 thing. I don't know why they let that one slip through, but they did, and I think it's pretty entertaining. Also, I played Sun Song, and after this cutscene ends, time's gonna start moving really fast again. I only have 6 frames to pull the ocarina until the moon crashes, so hopefully I can do that. I mean, 6 frames is not very much time, but it looks like I clutched it out. And that is the end of second cycle. Third cycle is basically just a lot of cleanup. You basically just get everything else that you didn't get in the first or the second and third cycles, I guess. I consider that second cycle, but I guess technically it's third cycle. So one interesting thing about this Sun Song I'm about to play right here is if you make time advance fast enough on the 1.0 version of the game, the daytime music will still play. So even at nighttime. So once I play Sun Song here, I'm just gonna go up to the North Clocktown entrance because I'm gonna be doing Blast Mask right now. And you'll notice that the music still like plays while it's going. So I'm just gonna use Sun Song again to make it around the perfect time for it. I'm gonna be a little lenient because I don't want to be too late and have to do all that again, even though it's only like literally a minute and a half of stuff. But we're gonna be waiting for like a second, so I'll go ahead and show off something neat. So if you look through this wall right here, you can see that it's like a earlier version of the clock, and there's like a fence there. I don't know what that was all about, but I guess they forgot to change it.
Something worth noting, so normally in speedruns, especially at Majora's Mask, we try to do things in as few cycles as possible, but you actually have to do at least 2 cycles after second cycle, because it's not possible to do this side quest, the Bomb Shop Lady side quest, on the same cycle you do the Cafe and Andrew side quest, because as the story goes, Sakan, if he gets caught, then he doesn't actually go to his hideout. And the whole reason that Cafe figures out where his hideout is that he follows Sakan there. So you can't actually do them in the same cycle. And that's just like a little bit of lore that's sort of built into the gameplay, which is really cool, but it is a little inconvenient for speedruns because it means we do have to do these separately.
Okay, so now I'm going to listen to Grandma's stories again. I hope you guys didn't get too much of them the first time because we still have to get 2 heart pieces from them. Also, you may notice that I have 21 hearts, which is pretty interesting. Technically, you're only required to get 20 hearts, but I think it's pretty funny to get more than 20 hearts. It makes this run quite literally superior to source requirement 100%.
Along that line, something else that I've been working on in the new route is double magic, and double magic's actually really interesting because unlike double defense, which is just a flag, like you either have it or you don't, the way double magic works is it's basically a multiplier for the magic bar, and it can be anything between 1 and 255. So you can actually give yourself like 2 in the double magic slot, and then you'll have a triple length magic bar. Or you can give yourself like 255 and it'll just cover the whole screen. So that's pretty cool. Maybe that'll get shown off at some point in the future, some other day.
I hope so. Also, I will say that the order that you have to read these, or the order that Grandma has to tell her stories in is like, it's actually important. You have to do the first one first, because if you do the second one first, it will make it the last day, and that will completely lock you out of doing the other one, and you'll have to do it in a completely different cycle. So it actually matters. I'm going to equip bombs here, I suppose. I think I'll have enough time to do another observatory debug, although I did forget to actually write the file name again. Every time I do the file name, well, actually, I don't know. Will it matter? Because I haven't reset the game. Do you think it'll matter, Rylie?
If you haven't reset the game, it won't matter.
Okay, so then I'm just gonna go for it right after this.
Yeah, so the way the file names work is kind of interesting. So on the Japanese version, there's actually 3 file names, but that isn't the way they're stored in memory. It's not like it's file 1, file 2, file 3. What it is it's the file you're playing on and the file that you've most recently created or copied. So whenever you load a file to play on it, like that one's obviously always going to be in memory, but if you create a file or copy a file and then you reset the game, resetting clears all the memory. So that file name won't be in memory anymore. And we really need 2 file names to do pretty much anything useful with arbitrary code execution, because the first half of the file name is always just going to be jump to the other file name. So we really need those 2 because it gives us 2 lines of code 2 effective lines of code we can write instead of just 1.
Oh, I definitely have reset the game, so I'm gonna have to Song of Time here, and then I'll do debug menu again, and then we'll be at the gate, because other than double defense, we've literally done everything else. So I'm gonna reset the game here, and we'll get double defense real quick. It's still faster to do the debug menu again than to actually get the fairies.
Yeah, the debug. So one thing that's really cool is that, and you may have potentially caught on to this when I was explaining the debug menu in the first place, and I realized that I was talking about the wrong thing. I was actually talking about how the any percent works, which is you basically convince the game you're in tournament field, and then you place on a time, and it ends up launching the credits. The only difference between that and what we're doing right now is the file names that Claire is using. So we can actually do the exact same setup and have completely different results based on the file names we have, which that's basically the power of arbitrary code execution. Like, you're essentially just using the exact same exploit to get arbitrary code execution to happen, but the actual code that is executing is just what's in your file name. So it's pretty neat. Way back in the day, we used to do this in the graveyard, actually. And the graveyard setup was a lot harder for a couple of different reasons. One is that, like, that Ryobonshu that just attacked Claire, there's like a zillion of those on the way to graveyard, and so they're very, very annoying. And also in the graveyard, it doesn't have as many walls that we can target. Like I said, Observatory is just so good for SRM, and one of the reasons is because it has so many walls at different angles. And so we basically have a script that we just run that knows all the angles in Observatory, and it just picks the best one and tells you how to get your the desired angle from that initial angle. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing in the Observatory. It saves time too, because the Observatory is actually closer than the graveyard is, not by much. But it saves time, it's easier to do because it has more walls, and because I invested a lot of time in getting good angle setups.
Yes, the bane of my existence is once again getting bomb drops, but we just got one, so that's cool. We're literally going to be doing something that everybody's already seen. So if you want to read some donations until I do this, that's totally fine.
Can do. $100 coming in from Bungus the Cat. Claire, love your stream. So cool to see you at GDQ. You go, girl. Thanks to everyone for supporting such a great cause. Meow. $400 from Russ. I look forward to every GDQ marathon, and I'm loving seeing one of my favorite Zelda games taken apart by both runner and commentator. If only I'd known about these tricks as a child, Link. I think I have to read this one. I'm legally obligated to do this one. $150 coming in from Mitten Z. Watching games done quick has always been a highlight for me, and this past GDQ is especially so because SuperJamoose is hosting. So proud of you for doing this, and I'll give you a chance to flex your vocal cords. Oh, here we go. I see. I have to use the Master Sword to activate this metal gear to stop the moon from crashing into the earth, and I need to get there in this box. Love always, and to make sure this message isn't too sappy, honk! Let's get that Goose Game glitch incentive. Don't worry, girl. We got it. I think I'm out of trouble now. I think I'm okay now. $100 from Zephyr Randall. Haven't missed this marathon for years, and despite all that's changed for me, I'm sitting with my family, enjoying the event once again. Thank you, as always, for the games and for helping the cause. $250 from Anonymous. May the high tide of GDQ raise all boats. Let's celebrate being a part of this community of unique and unabashed individuals sharing their passion and knowledge with open arms.
So Claire actually just crashed right there. One of the cool things about the N64 version of this game, though, is that it actually has its built-in crash debugger. So anytime you crash the game on N64, you're going to see a little red, sort of like an underscore symbol in the top left corner of the screen. Whenever that happens, you can actually do a button combination on the controller to launch the crash debugger. And I hope you all are taking notes right now, because this is actually a really cool thing to do at home. So you're going to want to hold the L button, the D-pad left, the R button, the C right button, and then the start button. It's those 5 buttons will launch the crash debugger when that red underscore is on the screen. And there's a couple different ways to get this game to crash. Not all of them are nearly as complicated as what Claire just did. Probably the easiest one is just a Hess crash, which is where you hold target and you hold your stick so that Link is just barely side shuffling. So it's like pretty close to neutral. And then you just roll on a good frame of the bomb timer. You have 2 frames to do it. And if you just do that, then you'll crash the game and you can look at the crash debugger yourself. It has lots of cool techie nerdy stuff in it. It has memory addresses, it has code. It's really cool. I recommend checking it out sometime.
Okay, so I'm gonna try this one more time. If I crash again, because the visual cues are a little bit different with this different shield. If I crash again, then we're gonna say that the extra heart counts for the double defense.
That is true. The visual cues are going to be a little different with that shit.
Yeah, it is a little bit different. So I'm giving myself one more try, and then we'll say, It's good enough. I mean, it's literally just something that you get from the debug menu. So...
But I believe in Claire. She will make this a 99% NSR. She can do it this time.
You can definitely go for some more donations, though.
Absolutely. $300 coming in from Dave. This is the 14th GDQ event I've been able to see live, and I've been lucky enough to be able to donate to every one. Here's $20 for every event I've seen, plus a bonus for this year for being so great. $25 from Smaman. Yo, we just hit $700,000, but why stop there? Let's go for $100,000 or even $100,000. Let's glitch overflow that donation counter. I mean, I can't argue with that logic. It makes sense to me.
No, it's flawless. It's really flawless.
That is how counting works.
That's how counting works. $25 from Super Dogs. Love watching DDQ with my dogs, including Gaddon, who got his name because he was born during an ADDQ speedrun of Wind Waker, and his sister Zelda. $25 from Guardian Marcus. Gotta donate to a great cause, plus a chance to win a sweet gaming chair. How could I not? $50 from Anonymous. No time for a comment. Got to go fast. Land sends in $25. Thank you everyone at SGDQ for raising money for such a great cause and giving me an S-class distraction.
All right, moment of truth.
Let's see.
All right.
Bummer.
That's fine. It's fine. Like I said, it's literally just something you get from the debug menu. So this run actually is not changed at all by not doing that. I've literally never done that late into the run. So it's possible that something like that I don't even know about is making it crash. But that's fine. It's really not that big of a deal. Okay,
Claire,
so now
how
we're...
are you ever going to beat Majora without double defense? It's going to be so hard.
You're right. It's going to be so difficult. Also, we're done with everything in the run. So, why are we going to the graveyard? I wonder.
Very good question. I guess I'll start explaining it now, because it is a little bit complicated. So we're going to do another SRM here. It's kind of interesting. This run only has really two SRMs we do. The first is for the debug menu, and then the second is what we're about to do right here. So the first application we ever actually had for SRM was Moonwarp. And Moonwarp was, for a very long time, a fabled glitch in Majora's Mask, because the only way to get to the moon was to beat all the dungeons. And if a Moonwarp existed, we wouldn't have to do any of the dungeons. And it turns out there's actually quite a few ways that you can use SRM to get Moonwarp. The first one was to modify an owl statue's index to be the value E, which happens to correspond to the number of ocarina notes you've played. And so if you play 6 ocarina notes, 6 is one of the 5 entrances that send you to Majora. So you'll actually just go to Majora. The second one we found was by modifying a Deku Guard in Deku Palace. They have a parameter that adjusts the spawn. And if you overflow that, you can actually get to some different scenes besides just Deku Palace. And one of them happens to be Goat Trial on the Moon. And so you can just back out of Goat Trial and end up on the moon. This is Moonwarp 3, though. And Moonwarp 3 is actually using a grotto. Grottos in this game are pretty interesting. There's actually 2 different types of grottos. They don't really have official names, but I like to call them scene grottos and global grottos. So scene grottos are the ones in Deku Palace and the Lens of Truth Cave. And those ones just always send you to the same scene no matter what. But the global grottos are actually pretty cool because they're like, wherever there's a grotto, a global grotto, there is a list of all the places it can send you. And so what we're doing, this is normally a generic grotto, but we're modifying the value for the generic grotto to actually just send us straight to the moon, which is really nifty. So yeah, we're on the moon now. This is Moon Warp 3. This is the first time we've ever had a moon warp directly to the moon, because the first moon warp was to Majora's Lair, the second was to Goat Trial, and this is the first one that lets us get to the moon itself, which is really nifty. But yeah, we just talked to Majora Kid, and now we're in Majora.
We actually do have everything we would need to, like, normally get to the moon, but believe it or not, going to the graveyard and doing that whole setup is still faster than watching the going to the moon cutscene. So, yeah.
Yeah, the going to the moon cutscene is like over 5 minutes long, isn't it? It's so long.
It's really long. Yeah.
It's the best cutscene in the game, though. So when you run categories that ban SRM, that's one of the highlights for me, is getting to watch that, because you don't really see it much in the fastest categories anymore.
I definitely always use that as like a pee break. I can't remember the last time I actually watched that cutscene. Also, Fierce Deity Link will make quick work of our good friend Majora here. It's also the only fight that we even do in the whole run. It's the only thing that we have to directly kill. So that's pretty cool. This is basically just a pacifist run.
Majora's actually a really interesting boss when it comes to, like, Zelda games. Because the final boss of most Zelda games is relatively easy, and it doesn't tend to really change in difficulty based on what items you have. But Majora is one where it goes to both extremes. Like, if you have Fierce Deity's Mask, this is a pushover. It's a cakewalk. But you can actually get to Majora using that same Moonwarp trick with literally nothing except what you need to finish first cycle. So all you have is Magic, Deku Mask, Ocarina, Song of Healing, and Song of Time. That's all you have. And this fight with that loadout is basically impossible. It's very, very difficult. So, I don't know, Majora is just a really well-designed boss in that it rewards you for having completed more of the game.
Time is coming up, by the way, like right now, as soon as I get this last hit. Okay, time. All right, and that's it. That was 100% no source requirement. Also, one final thing to add is that there are many ways to like warp directly to the credits for this game at this point. However, none of them work with the debug menu or in 64 or Japanese. So we still have to fight the final boss, even though, you know, it's basically kind of a formality. But yeah, cool. Well, that's it. That's the whole game. That's all I have. Make sure to follow me on all of my social medias and Twitch. I stream there. It's all just ClaireLynnD. Make sure to follow Rylie as well. She streams. She does not have a Twitter, but she does stream. And you should definitely follow her because she does a lot of really cool glitch hunting and stuff. And some speed runs. And yeah, just keep continuing to donate to the marathon. You guys donated a ton of money during this run, which is amazing. And yeah.
And then for my shoutouts, even though I did do some work on this run, I was very heavily borrowing from the work of others. So I wanted to shout out two people in particular. Seedborn is the person who came up with the first sort of ace setup for this game. Well, the first and the second, and I was borrowing heavily from the second one when I made this one. He also came up with the debug menu file names. And then I also want to thank Full Grown Gaming for his heap simulator, which we used to basically figure out how to break those pots and drop those bombs in such a way as to get the correct things to line up in memory. So without those two, none of this would have ever happened.
And also, if you want to learn how to speedrun Majora's Mask, you should definitely join the Majora's Mask Discord. There's actually a tournament for all level entry players that is coming up pretty soon. So if you wanted to give it a shot, now's the time to do it. But that's pretty much all I got.
Well, folks, we haven't met with a terrible fate, because we're not done yet. And thankfully, the event lasts longer than just 3 days. Welcome back to Summer Games Done Quick 2021, powered by Twitch. Have some time for some quick donations here. I think I like the dichotomy of the couple that I found here. $25 coming in from I Despair. Me and my husband love when GDQ comes around. We stream it all day and all night. We can't get enough. So glad we can always come together for the cause and all the fun. Thanks, GDQ. But then we have $25 from Petrie89. There's only 2 times a year when my wife gets really frustrated with me. A faint light in the dark and someone commentating every day for a week. I'm so hyped it's GDQ season again. Thank you so much. I have a $50 donation from Stefan Drew. Games Done Quick gives our home sleepover vibes twice a year. Stay up late, eat in front of our TV, and add games to our TBP, to be played list. Thank you to everyone involved. Much love. $50 from M&SJ. Up early with my 10-month-old and so glad to have SEDQ keeping us company. Good luck to all the incredible runners, and thanks so much to all the GDQ staff and volunteers for their hard work supporting MSF. We'll be starting up again here real soon, but remember folks, speedrunning doesn't just happen twice a year. In fact, we have the GDQ hotfix for all of your speedrunning needs. And you can watch speedrunning-based shows here on twitch.tv/gamesdonequick, such as Speedruns from the Crypt, Challenger Approaching, Super Boss Bros, and you can see large community events such as Frame Fatale's marathons and community relay races all year round. With shows starting every weeknight at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have something for everyone. $10 coming in from the Broken Lords podcast, catching bits and pieces when we can. GDQ events are always a great showcase of what we can accomplish if we work together. Great work to all the runners, and shout outs to the tech crew that make these events happen. And I Like Cake sends in $100. Gotta get my donation in early as I will be traveling the rest of the week. Good luck on the run, and I look forward to catching the VODs later. Thanks to the runners and support staff for the great event. Donation goes to Runner's Choice. $250 coming in from Techno Hot Dog. The golden cartridge Majora's Mask was my prized possession when I was younger. Love this game and this marathon. And I'm being told we have an interview on deck before we get to our next segment. So I'll be sending you to the interview room in just a moment, featuring Kungfufruitcup. But my dear friends, that is also the end of my time today, and this is the last run that I am hosting for Summer Games Quick 2021. I just have to say, this has been a phenomenal experience. It has been a privilege to have this opportunity. I've always wanted to give it a try, and now I can say I did it. I pass the hosting torch to the interview team, and afterwards you will have Iggy Zig for Untitled Goose Game. Thank you all so much. Stay determined, go fast. Good night, GDQ.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I guess good evening, good morning, depends on where you are in the world. But hello and welcome back to Summer Games Done Quick 2021 online. I am Kungfufruitcup, and today I am joined by a wonderful group who is getting ready to do a number of animal-based silly games, or I mean, I don't think they would think it's silly. I think that they love all these games, and I'm excited to talk with them. So we have Tasselfoot, Thundar001, who are co-oping Goose Game. We have Biglaw, who's doing I Am Fish, and we have teddyras, who is doing Fight Crab. How are you all doing?
All right,
I know it's hard to know.
I don't know who's supposed to go first. I'm doing all right.
No worries, no worries. I will make sure to prompt each and every one of you. So I wanted to ask some questions about the games that you have coming up. So we'll start with Tass and Thundar. I want to know, for all of you, like, what got you into running these games? So for the two of you, what got you into running Goose Game? And then what also inspired the two of you to want to run it together?
I've been running Goose Game since the day it came out. I took off work to play this game the day it came out, and have loved it ever since, and have been speedrunning it for a year and a half since it came out.
That's fair. Okay, and what about you, Thundar?
So I'd actually known Tass for quite a bit since I'd done some voluntary QA on a game he was working on way back when. And one day I was just watching his Twitch, as I tend to do from time to time, and just one day I just thought, you know what, I see Tass just struggling with this one category, and it's like, you know what, that seems fun, and I decided to go into it, and oh boy, was I in for it.
You're welcome, buddy.
We suffer together now.
Now we suffer together.
So you just decided that, like, hey, I wanna join in and do a co-op? Like, whose suggestion was it?
I invited Thunder. So co-op released a year after the initial game. It came to Steam after its 1 year Epic exclusive on PC, and it released there and everywhere after a year with co-op. And so again, the day co-op came out, I started routing and working on it with our commentator for this run, Ritz, and kind of worked out a bunch of stuff. And then Thunder has gotten really, really good and really, really into Goose, and thought that it would be great to run co-op with him.
Awesome. Cool. Well, can't wait to see it. Now I want to head over to you, Biglaw, with I Am Fish. So this game isn't even out, and we can talk about that in a minute, but what got you into running this?
Well, I've seen a lot of the speedruns of games from this producer, Bossa Studios, from previous GDQs. Like, I've seen the Surgeon Simulator run. I saw Blood Thunder do I Am Bread at GDQ 17. That was a treat. And these wacky, sort of bizarre movement games, they have this certain appeal that most people would say, wow, that looks like garbage. I would never touch it. But I run garbage, so I'm happy to touch it. So I played the prototype back in 2019, and I did it at a couple marathons, and it was some good fun. And since then, the game has actually changed a sizable amount. They have pretty well reworked the entire thing from that one build in 2019, and I'm going to be showing some of that off for this event, so it's going to be pretty fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Again, I'm looking forward to all these, so I feel like I'm going to keep saying that, but I still really mean it. Great. Yeah, especially like weird movement games like that. It's really cool to see how speedrunners approach it, and the kind of like what you're able to take advantage of the movement that's typically supposed to be very difficult for people to handle. So very exciting. And then also back to you, Teddy, with Fight Crab. Okay, Fight Crab. Everybody, I'm sure, is looking forward to what that is, what that means. So, like, what got you into running it? And can you tell us a little bit about how it works?
Yeah, so the HO Twitter account tweeted out, hey, this is Fight Crab, a game about giant fighting crabs. And I was like, yeah, I'm on board. That's pretty much all it took. Yeah. Just went to the page and downloaded it right away, right after that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You're a giant crab, you do wrestling. And it's kind of like, I don't know. The rules are a bit nuts. You can use weapons. Like, that's just how it works. Also, you get like DBZ moves. Like, straight up, you have a Hadouken, Kamehameha, whatever the hell. Like, you got a Kaioken, you got a Spirit Bomb. I don't know why. It's the best game ever. I'm sorry.
You can't beat it.
So basically, it's like a what you see is what you get. It says fight crab, and you're just fighting crabs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Perfect. I love hearing that. Okay, if you're not already interested enough in these runs and these runners, I also want to hear about. I checked. All of you have a lot of experience running a lot of different games, and that definitely got my attention. And I wanted to ask, like some of your history and experience with different games. So, like, what inspires you for certain games, and like what motivates you to try new things, and if you have like certain categories that you tend to stick to. So I'm going to take it in a different order. Let's start with you, Biglaw.
Okay. Well, I've ran a wide variety of games from like varying genres. Extreme sports. You've seen me do Tony Hawk at a good number of GDQs now, and I've done RPGs. I've done sandbox games. Like I've done Saints Row. I've done GTA.
So, like, what inspires you to run a game?
Really, if I just enjoy it. Like, if I find a game like that I like to play, and I see that there's potential to complete a goal, or just have some sort of objective, or just beat the game, then I'd say that's more than enough reason to run it. And if it ends up being a fun speedrun, great, that's awesome. And if it's not, then well, I got to try it out, and I had fun with it while I could. So.
Well, so you're like dipping your toes in the water and like testing different things out to see if any of them stick for you.
Yeah. Like I very recently, a new game came out, Wave Break, and it's like Tony Hawk, but you're in boats, and it's got a little bit of a jank sort of feel, but like it's a good kind of jank, and I want to explore that more. I've just been busy being a fish, so I haven't been able to try it out that much. But, it's been a very fun time. I've enjoyed my time with that, and I think it's going to be a bit of a staple for me. I think so.
Awesome. Yeah, well, maybe we'll get to see it at a future GDQ. Now, to keep the order fresh, I'm going to go back to Teddy, actually, for this one. So you also run, like, a large variety of games. Like, what gets you into certain games? And do you have a category you like the best?
Honestly, I don't even know. I guess kind of same answer, pretty much. Just, it looks fun? Yeah, let's do it. Why not? And I kind of just go around to random categories, and it depends on, like, if there's, like, a good trick or something in there, like... I don't know, like I ran a whatchamacallit, like DS3 all bosses, because there was like, oh, there's a bunch of weird glitches in here. But like, I probably shouldn't have, because Wilhelm skip is the worst thing ever invented. But, like, yeah.
So a lot of what you run tends to be from just like intrigue. You're like, oh, this could be really cool.
Yeah, pretty much. Does this game look like it's gonna be fun? Cool. Does this look like it's being like a challenge sometimes? Yeah, might as well.
Do you like?
It's kind of random at this point.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, again, like what inspires different people is going to be different. Maybe it's just like, oh, this looks neat, or like, I really like this style of thing. Some people have certain parameters for what they're interested in for running games. Do you have like any? Let's say if there was like a top 3 out of all the games that you've ran, what would you say?
I gotta have to look at the SuperJamoose page, honestly. Just like I don't even know what would I run. I almost like literally forget too much.
Do you want me to check? I can check. We can come back to you if you want.
I'm already here. It's just really laggy.
I mean, that's just speedrun.com.
Yeah, it's like, if you all go on speedrun.com, seriously, you can see they all have like 10, 15 different games. Like, there's so much on there. And it's the same for TAS and Thundar. So that's why I'm going to go to you two next for that. So feel free to jump in anytime if you think of anything. Teddy, in the meantime, but TAS and Thundar, what about you two? We can start with TAS. I know Goose Game is like your kind of bread and butter, but you do have a variety of other games. Like what has gotten you into those?
So I have a little more analytical response than the first two. I pretty much exclusively run indie games with low skill ceilings and try to find high execution strategies for them. So my other like kind of hundreds of hours of gameplay speedrun grind is Grease, and Grease is definitely narrative focused sort of a game, but at the high and the skills required to play it well are low, but the execution at a high level is very precise to get the tricks involved with it. So that's what keeps me interested in a game, and I think Goose fits that pretty well.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. Grease is an absolutely beautiful game. I loved playing that, but then I also love playing Goose Game. So I understand the draw to both of them, and I can see how like they both have kind of more simplified mechanics on the surface, and so it's cool to see you want to just push that. And then Thundar, over to you. So what's gotten you into running all your games?
It's usually whenever I usually like to play a game casually first, just so I can just get a sense. Because usually, if there's story or if there's something, just the enjoyment of whatever I initially went through there. And then if I start to notice that I'm starting to go a little bit fast, like, come on, skip the dialogue, come on, this would be faster if it was in Chinese, come on. If I start to notice that I'm like wanting to go a whole lot faster than the game will actually allow me, then I'll start to pursue it and start to look into it. But there's been like a lot of games in which tested the water, and that comes into like another phase, like testing the water. Okay, I'm actually doing a speed run of this. Will I have interest later on? And that's what's led to like the plethora of games and many games that you can't even see on my speedrun.com page because just testing it out. I mean,
things you're
Hollow
just
Knight.
testing.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Hollow Knight is like a prime example. That's now on my page. But back in 2017, I did a run, never submitted it. I like the badge. I did a run and thought, yeah, you know what? Now's not the right time. And 3 years later, I come back to it and now running a lot of it.
Yeah, no, here we are. Yeah, the Hollow Knight's such a great game too. I love all of your picks. I'm so excited to see these runs. Teddy, do you have any last words now that you've looked at your speedrun page? I don't want to like leave you high and dry.
I'm more confused now, honestly. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Just looking through, you're like, oh, there's too much.
I
I don't even
There's a marble game, and there's just like there's Zam that's like from I don't know 30 years ago, and there's like a Cruelty Squad. It's just like, what am I doing?
Do you even remember some of these?
I remember like all of them. It's just like I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I ran that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, if you want to see some of these amazing games, amazing animal games, feel free to check out these streamers as well because they're all great and run so many different things or have in the past. So it's really cool to see all the different things that inspire you. But this animal block is going to be wonderful amongst the silly block. So please make sure you check out all of these runs. Coming up next, we have Goose Game. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you to the 4 of you for speaking with me. I really appreciate it.
Honk.
Honk.
Honk. Okay, and I am going to hand it back up to the host. Thank you all so much.
Well, hello, every people. It is beyond amazing to see you all here at Summer Games Done Quick 2021 online, powered by Twitch, and raising money to support Médecins Sans Frontières. My name is Iggy Zig, and it is my esteemed pleasure to welcome you all to the Silly Block, an enchanted evening full of speedruns for games that will elicit, well, let's say profound questions from all of you like how, or why, or my own personal favorite, what? I suspect there's going to be a lot of what's uttered tonight. Much incredulity. Oh, but we are starting off the Silly Block super strong tonight for sure, my fine feathered friends. For you see, last year at AGDQ, we all saw the goose let loose, causing just so much trouble. But now, get ready for double. Tasselfoot is back. And this time he's brought along his ride or die goose Thundar 001 as they team up to terrorize that poor village in a 100% co-op run of Untitled Goose Game. No words exist to convey the chaos you're about to witness. Only honks can do that. Just many honks. Everyone, please, honk and do not stop for the geese. They demand it, and they will be unleashed when we come back.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, all the goose love is coming in already. We have a $25 donation graciously donated by Dave's daughter. And it's in the form of a haiku, a goose haiku. It reads, honk, 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 honk. Honk, 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 honk. Honk, 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 honk. Thank you so much. My heart soars with that moving poetry. All right, chat. It's now time to show us your final goose form. Get those GDQ honks permitted up and give an absolutely hype welcome to Tasselfoot and Thunder for the 100% co-op run of Untitled Geese Game.